You know that feeling, right? We've all been there. Your body is just burning up, you feel miserable, you feel like your whole system is failing. But what if I told you that feeling isn't a failure at all? What if it's actually a carefully deployed weapon? Today, we are diving deep into the paradox of fever, how the very thing that makes us feel so sick is actually one of our body's best lines of defense.
And this quote right here, it just nails the central mystery, doesn't it? How can our body's best defense mechanism also be a potential source of harm? It's this incredible biological balancing act, a true paradox. And to really get it, we need to completely reframe how we think about being sick.
All right, first things first, let's get a major mindset shift out of the way. A fever isn't a sign that your body is broken or overwhelmed. Nope, it's an intentional, calculated strategy. It is absolutely 100% a feature of our immune system, not a bug.
So, what is it, technically speaking? Well, a fever is a regulated rise in your core body temperature. Think of it like this. Your brain has this little internal thermostat. It's called the hypothalamus. And it's normally set to around 37 degrees Celsius, 98.6 Fahrenheit. During a fever, your body deliberately reaches over and turns that thermostat up.
And this whole thing, it's not random. It's a super organized chain reaction. See, when a pathogen like a virus gets in, your immune cells sound the alarm by releasing these chemical signals. Think of them as the first responders on the scene. They trigger a whole cascade of other messengers, which all leads to this one key molecule, prostaglandin E2. That's the signal that travels up to the brain's thermostat and says, hey, crank up the heat. And that shivering and feeling cold you get, that's just your body working overtime, contracting your muscles like crazy to generate the heat it needs to hit that new, higher target.
So why on earth go through all that trouble? Well, because a higher temperature turns your body into a much more hostile environment for invaders. It's basically like giving your immune system a home field advantage.
And this is where it gets really cool. At these higher temperatures, your immune cells literally get better at their jobs. They get supercharged. They move faster to the site of the infection, they multiply more rapidly, and at the same time, your body starts pumping out more antibodies for long-term defense. It's a full-on, multi-pronged attack, all driven by simply raising the temperature. It makes life miserable for those pathogens trying to replicate and survive.
Okay, but as we said, this amazing weapon has a flip side. It comes with a cost. Creating and maintaining all that heat is incredibly expensive for the body, and it can put a really serious strain on your systems.
Just look at this number for a second. For every single degree Celsius your temperature goes up, your body's base energy consumption, your metabolic rate, skyrockets by 10 to 13%. To put that in perspective, that's like your body going from a casual walk to a steady jog, metabolically speaking, without you moving an inch. It's a massive amount of energy being burned just to keep that heat up.
And all that extra energy demand has consequences, right? To supply all that extra oxygen and fuel, your heart has to work way harder. The general rule of thumb is that your heart rate goes up by about 10 extra beats per minute for every degree Celsius your temperature rises.
And look, this is really important to get. That extra strain isn't the same for everybody. For someone who already has a heart or lung condition, that metabolic stress can be genuinely dangerous. For young children, that rapid change in temperature can sometimes trigger something called a febrile seizure. And for the elderly, the risks of things like dehydration and organ stress are a whole lot higher.
So this table really lays it all out. It's the perfect summary of the paradox we're talking about. The very same thing that protects you at the cellular level by supercharging your immune cells can simultaneously harm you at the organ level by putting major stress on your heart, your brain, and your entire system. That's the conflict, right there.
Okay, but here's where things get really interesting. There's a crucial twist to this whole story. You see, not all high body temperatures are the same. To truly understand fever, we have to separate it from its dangerous, unregulated cousin, hyperthermia.
This right here is the single most important distinction. Remember how we said fever is your brain deliberately turning up the thermostat? Well, in hyperthermia, the thermostat is still set to normal. The body is just overheating anyway because of some external factor, like in heat stroke, or because its systems for getting rid of heat are failing. It's out of control.
And this table just lays out the key differences perfectly. With fever, that set point is intentionally high and you get an immune benefit. With hyperthermia, the set point is normal. There's absolutely no benefit and it is always a medical emergency. So that brings up a pretty important question. In a real-world scenario, how can you even tell them apart?
Well, a lot of the time it comes down to this. How does the body respond to medication?
You see, drugs like paracetamol or ibuprofen work by telling the brain's thermostat to lower its set point. So they work great for a fever. But in hyperthermia, the thermostat is already set to normal. The set point isn't the problem, so those drugs do absolutely nothing. Hyperthermia requires immediate, aggressive external cooling.
All right, so we have all this information now. We know the difference. We know the risks and the benefits. So how does this actually change things in the real world? How do we resolve the paradox?
Which, of course, leads to the big question. If fever is such a helpful immune tool, should we really be reaching for medicine to get rid of it every single time?
And the modern medical answer is, well, it's not so simple. It depends entirely on the person. The goal is no longer to just treat the number on the thermometer. The goal is to treat the patient sitting in front of you, carefully balancing the immune benefits against the physiological risks for them specifically.
A doctor is going to look at the whole picture. For a healthy young adult, yeah, letting a moderate fever run its course might actually be the best thing to do. But for an elderly patient with heart disease or a child who's in a lot of distress, the priority completely shifts. It becomes about reducing that metabolic stress and just providing comfort. It's about treating the person, not the fever itself.
So, when you boil it all down, a fever is this ancient, powerful weapon our body deploys against invaders. But it's a double-edged sword, where the same heat that kills off pathogens can also put a huge strain on our own systems. The next time you feel that heat rising, just remember the paradox. Your body isn't breaking down, it's going to war. And the real question isn't whether we should stop it, but how we can best support the incredible, intelligent fight that's happening inside.